Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Raw Knuckles podcast. We'd really appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, and share with a friend.
When I stepped on the ice, I never backed down, and I never stayed down.
And I was vicious, and I was malicious, and I don't care.
He's a freaking madman. Look at him going to town. That'll be a suspension. That'll be a fine.
How you been, Denny?
Great. How are you?
Good, good. How about those fucking Kings? But we'll get into that.
Now, I was in Arizona for opening night. We can talk about that.
Okay, we will. Certainly will.
So weird. It's so weird watching those games.
Yeah. Well, it's like being in a
college.
junior
Like a
game.
college. Yeah, exactly.
You had to see that building, right?
Yeah. Opening when they announced it, I'm like, I'll be there. Opening night.
Did you, what I want to fucking know, what I want to know is, did you wear the mullet?
No, Dave did.
They put one on
Dave
every
did
seat.
that.
Did you see that, Tim?
Yeah,
Oh,
they did.
they
did.
did?
Good job.
They
Yeah,
put
everybody
one
got
on
it.
every seat, a mullet, so you could wear it at the game. Fucking funny stuff.
And this is
right?
this is the rink on the campus. Like it's the school's rink, right?
Yeah, it's right in the middle of ASU. Yeah.
So was there a bunch of students at the game? Was it like you?
Well, what they do is behind one of the nets, it's a student section, so it's not seats, it's benches, and anywhere from like $25 to $50 students can get in and sit behind one of the nets.
Well, that's cool.
hilarious.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that
great.
was funny. Listen, Denny, baby, we're going to talk a little NHL. We always start with Les Habitants. And Les Habitants, I'm telling you, 3-2 win in Buffalo, which was huge.
Yep.
It looked like they were going to blow that one 2-2. They tied it up late, Buffalo. And then Josh Anderson bailed out his buddy, Jonathan Drouin, with that goal, because Drouin on the tying goal, kind of loose coverage in his own end. And again, not his strong point. And it's just, they bounced back. Last year, that would have killed them. The game would have been over. And just a great performance by the goaltender, Montembeault.
Oh yeah, Sam was great, and the goaltending's been solid for the Habs so far. If you look at their expected goals, it's way above. So that's one good facet. But Knucks, that game on Saturday.
Well, I was going to get there. I had to tee up. I had to talk about the lowly Sabres. Listen, for me, they win that hockey game. What I like about this and what I like about this coach is the fact that here you win a game. A lot of coaches will stay with the same lineup. You win.
Right.
They're superstitious. I'm not going to change anything.
Yeah.
He didn't change one guy. He changed three guys. Dadonov out, Drouin out, Pitlick out, and they bring in the boys. And listen, they went down 3-1. Last year, they would have folded the tent and gone.
6-1.
Yeah,
6-1. Would have been 6-1 last year.
So what?
But
What'd you think of that?
I know we'll talk about the goal scoring. I still give credit to that blue line. I mean, you got Gulli, Kovacic, and the other kid Harris on there, and they're just they're getting big time minutes and they're producing. But look, Cole Caulfield. All right, so we know how many he's going to get every year. The magic between him and Suzuki is present. And Christian Dvorak, if he's going to play games like that where he was a monster, they're going to exceed expectations. What are they, 5-4 after 9 games? Nobody had him there. People were said, okay, 3-6 to 6-1 or something like that. But to show the resilience, I think that's the key word, Knucks. They're resilient. And you wouldn't think that a team that is rebuilding and this young with a lot of youth and a lot is going to be resilient when they hit hard times, especially early in the season when they haven't really bonded as a team.
Yeah, and St. Louis was on a 3-game lose streak, right? We talked about that Knucks before. We thought Montreal had no chance. And I think, Dennis, the power play was huge that game, right? They had 2 big goals, and that's something that I think, is kind of timely needed. And they're going to have to rely on that, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, 5-on-5. They're not going to be a strong puck position.
They're going to score off the rush.
Question.
Yeah, it's a rush
exactly.
team.
It's a rush team in the power play. It's going to have to get production from that. Well, that continues. I don't know, but you know what? Like I said earlier on the show, you got to embrace games like this. This is great. So when it's in February and it's not going so great, remember these games because Buffalo was a hot team And St. Louis is supposed to have a really good defensive team. And they hung on in Buffalo, and they dominated offensively against a team that's supposedly one of the better defensive teams in the league.
Yeah, you definitely can't break up that duo of Caulfield and Suzuki. I like Doc there. It's nice, but you brought up Dvorak having a monster game like he did. But playing with guys like Gallagher and Anderson, guys who can certainly dig the puck out of the corner, but not just that. Like Josh can skate, Gally strong in and around the net. The three of them complement each other so well. I don't, you always try and put a big guy on the line to insulate some of the smaller players, but now they have a little more size and they've spread it around. You got Doc, like I said, Doc on the top line. You got Anderson with Dvorak and Gally. Then Armia, he's with Monahan and Yoel. Like, you could stick a.
He had a good season.
You could hammer a nail in his ass and he wouldn't move him. You know that? Like I like this kid, but he always keeps you wanting for more.
Oh yeah. That's one of those guys that set expectations really high after one really solid season. He's not been able to replicate it. And here's the thing about Dvorak playing with Anderson and Gallagher. Those two wingers, they're the type of players that drag the third player into the fight. Like, those are heart and soul guys. Those are attitude guys. So to play with Dvorak, who you don't really, he wasn't even that happy when he scored the hat trick, maybe because it was
he wasn't.
It was like, all right. But those two guys will drag you into the fight. Yeah, exactly. They'll drag Dvorak into the fight, which is good to see, because I think that guy needs some energy players, not only productive players, because they think they still are, but the energy that those two wingers bring to that line is something great to see so far.
Yeah, what's nice too is seeing the young kid score that one-timer, boy.
Oh yeah,
it looked a little Ovechkin-esque from the opposite side.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah,
but really,
that's how he's going to score, right?
Yeah, like
he's opposite of Dvorak. He likes to score. He gets fucking fired up. So.
Yeah, you get a little celly going. Hey, his celly's going is pretty good. So his celly works pretty good so far. But yeah, that's how he's going to have to score, at least in the first. And it doesn't matter how he scores in the first 10 or 20 games, right? I mean, the fact that he gets a little bit of satisfaction, a little bit of encouragement by putting the puck in the back of the net. And that's how you got to do. You got to find him in open. He's got time and space to let that shot go, and it could beat most goaltenders, especially on a power play.
Really good point on the defense when you talk about Gouli, Harris, Kovacevic. But you look at Jack Eye. Now, this kid, it's funny. Yesterday I'm at a autograph signing at a big expo here in Montreal. And I'm sitting there, I'm just signing stuff and going away. All of a sudden, somebody comes back up behind me and starts choking me, right? And I'm like, and I go, George. And this is funny. It was George Larac. So, George Larac. So I turn around, he goes, how did you know it was me? I said, well, one, the fucking dreadlocks were hanging in my fucking face, and I could see a brown hand. I mean, come on, would you? Anyway, we had a good talk, but he said, have you talked to Jack Eye yet? I said, yeah, I spoke with him. He said, you got to tell him to be careful, because I'm going to tell you can't lead with your face like he did with Cassian the other night. And he had a good point, because he did rush in, and he said, he better not do that. Make sure you talk to him, tell him don't do that, because Reeves is going to be looking for him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
Cassian,
it was just so funny.
Other guys,
George,
maybe. Yeah. But against a veteran guy like Cassian, or you mentioned Reeves, those guys will take advantage of that for sure.
So
why does George Larac know anything about fighting?
Not at all. Not at all. And a rather large fellow, I got to tell you. But Dennis, when we talk about the coach making those moves, and that's something you don't often see, especially three guys, maybe one guy, but three guys. And after win, I really like what St. Louis did there. I mean, and
it's a meritocracy,
you know what he said?
Right?
You know what he said? I'm sorry. He said, listen, I can't have guys just sit. They got to play at some point, which was nice, refreshing to hear.
Well, it's a meritocracy, and you got to get some of these guys on the roster in the game. And they're in a position where okay, yeah, it's a nice start. The expectations are that they're going to make the playoffs. So you got to get these guys NHL time. It's not. It doesn't do them as you're doing them disservice with respect to the development. You can't expect. And there's an injury 15 games from now, and these guys haven't played a game. Come on, you got to get them some ice time. You got to pick your spots with them. I have no problem with it. Nobody should. At the way that San Luis has been coaching, why would anybody have a question with his tactics so far?
It's funny, Dennis. The beginning of the year, obviously, no one picks the Canadians to make the playoffs. I didn't.
No.
I thought they might be in that lower third and battling and winning some hockey games. And I remember Suzuki specifically saying this, that a lot of people don't have confidence and faith in this team. He says, I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. Do you think there's an outside shot that they could sneak into the playoffs?
No. Unless are they going to get no?
What if they're in there around American Thanksgiving though?
Yeah.
Oh, American Thanksgiving. That's the whole thing. Cancel the rest of the regular season. You don't have to play 20 games. Let's play 20 games.
We're halfway done, Yeah.
Exactly. Play 20 games and we'll be gone. Unless they're going to get this goaltending from Allen Montembeault all season and they get no injuries. And that's the other thing. Like right now, this team, could they be an 81-point team, a 500 team? Maybe. They're a 500 team right now. They're one game to over 500. But they're going to get banged up and they just don't have the depth. The quality of depth, even though he made those lineup changes, to think, okay, they're going to be a 95. Maybe it's not 100 point. And that's the one thing I think about the East guys is that last year by February, we knew who was in the playoffs. There were 800-point teams. That was it. I don't see that. I mean, we could talk about that team that plays a little farther west of Montreal, who's really going through some bad times right now. The East isn't as strong. He's chomping. The East isn't as strong. So it may take 95 points or 94 points, what it usually would take to make the postseason. I don't see this team as a 94-point team because if they're a 500 team, they get to 94, they'd have to win 6 or 7 more games. I just don't see it happening. And again, you should embrace all the steps this team will make and get back towards contention. I just don't think there's enough quality, enough depth to think they're going to be in the postseason. But if you're at the trade deadline and you're talking about buying, that's already a successful season for this team. Because Suzuki's right. Nobody gave them a shot. Everybody said they're going to go for Bedard. Like, this is a rebuild, but the players that they brought in have been producing. But again, it's a small sample size. I think over 82 games, this is not a playoff team and not close.
All right, we'll stay in the Atlantic anyway, in the Eastern Conference, but let's get right to Toronto because it's nice. I look at the standings today, and the Habs are in the Atlantic, they're 6th, and Toronto is 7th, and I just love that. But, watching that game, they lose in L.A., and then they go to Anaheim, and, they're going to beat the last place Anaheim Ducks. They get the lead. I see and again, not to put it all on Mitch Marner, but I want to put it on the elite players because the coach did early in the season. And here's Marner giving the puck away in his own end of the rink.
Right.
Boom, they score. And then he gives it away high at his own the offensive blue line. Off they go. See you later. Game over. They tie it up and then win it in OT. But it seems to me that these elite players kind of, I don't know. I think there's a little shit spreading around that room. And Sheldon Keefe is not long for this team, I don't think. What do you think?
Well, first of all, they got a huge break on that goaltender interference. They should have lost that game in regulation. There's no way that's goaltender interference. I was like, okay, so that was terrible. Hee-haw, as you would say. So they got a point out of that. I saw them on Saturday in Los Angeles. Maybe it's a 4:00 game. This team had no passion. They had none, zero. They're not playing. They're not playing hard on pucks. Austin really hasn't been himself. Marner hasn't done much. Jake Muzzin's actually here in LA looking at talking to a neck specialist because that's a really concerning injury for his career. This team has no passion. They're trending in the direction of getting this coach fired. And it's just not the results that you want. The other night, he called a timeout with 10 minutes left in the third period because the team wasn't responding, and it wasn't playing well defensively. All the flaws in this team have come through, right? Matt Murray got hurt, and it looks like a top-heavy team right now that doesn't I love Nylander. I think he's playing the hardest of all, and he's been really, really good. And so is Tavares. Tavares is supposedly old and slow, but he cares. Some of those guys don't look like they care right now, which is really dangerous. And when they don't care, that's what happens to the coach. The coach is working somewhere else.
I actually made a live bet yesterday. It was 3-1, and the over was 5.5. This was like with 12 minutes left, and I did it specifically for that reason of like they just don't look. You just knew Anaheim was going to come back. That's what it felt like. You're right, like the passion, and then something wasn't there, and that is concerning. Yeah.
And Anaheim's a bad team. They're not. They were 1-7-1. The only one game they had won was when they were down 4-2 at home opening night to Seattle and rallied and got 3 goals late in the game. But that's not a good team. And and it's not just that game. They look like they're going through the motions. San Jose stinks. They lost to that team in over. They just don't look like they care right now, which is really, really troubling for me.
Oh, I'm sure no one. Listen, no one had the Bruins doing what they're doing right now, 8-1 and
ridiculous.
Listen, 21 goals against, stingy team, but they're putting the puck in the net. 39 goals. Again, here's a coach going in there getting a second chance, and I like what he did in Dallas, and I like what he's doing right now in Boston.
Well. Pasta's on a contract drive, right? He's going for his $11 million a year. He's out of this world. And their 2 centers have played great. The 2 guys that came back, and look, that's a concern. One's 37, one's 36. Are they going to make it through the entire season? Not and Marchand, November? No, we were joking. I'm not he did a swerve on everybody. Yeah, November, sure. Oh, no, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Scored 2 goals the first game. Okay. This is a dangerous team right now. I concern myself with the health of Krejci and Bergeron over a long season. That's the only concern I have. Ullmark's been great. He's stolen the cage from Swayman. It's a team that's clicking on all of a sudden that had skill and talent. Their top 6, if they can stay healthy, is different now. David Krejci makes so much difference to this team, Knucks. It's a different team, right? And they'll have one more push, but I think the window closes because after this season, Bergeron's probably going to retire. Krejci's probably going to go back to the Czech Republic again. So, but the Bruins fans should be overjoyed because people said that was like one of the teams that was going to fall out of the playoffs if these teams like Ottawa and Buffalo emerge and Detroit. But the Bruins said not so fast. We got a few bullets left in the chambers, and they've been fantastic so far. You're right, stingy on defense, but getting a lot of goals. And again, Pasta, he deserves that money. Like he's his goal scorer, he's a facilitator, and he's an entertainer. I love his personality, so the Bruins would be crazy not to keep him in Boston.
What about the Devils? Are they the real deal?
Yeah. See those donkeys in New York that were chanting "Fire Lindy" after 2 games?
Oh yeah, really?
2 games, you want to fire the coach? Is that it? Okay. They're the opposite of that. They're a really good puck possession team. They are really good. They're really good at that. If Jack again, I keep going back to the sentence. If Jack can stay healthy with him. And Nico Hischier up front. And I love Dorson Mercer as a 3C. They're getting some goaltending, and their defense is standing up right now. So there's a lot of star talent on that team. They haven't put it together, but they asked to fire the coach after 2 games when they got bad goaltending from Mackenzie Blackwood. Sorry, that wasn't the time to do it. So, again, this is a team that people thought would make some noise this season, and it was time to make noise because they're not – even though Jack's still a baby, he's not a kid anymore in the NHL. He's played enough games and enough seasons. He has a long-term deal. Brad came back and is doing really good things. He's on a mission as well. So, yeah, Tim, I think that this team was going to be better. Do I think they're going to win the division, the Metro? I don't. But they'll be a much better team than they were last season if they get to saves out of the cage from their goaltenders.
All right, let's head west, young man. And I guess surprise for me is Las Vegas, 8-2-0. This their goaltender Logan, what's his name? Thompson, right? Come on, look at the numbers, and it's early, 4-2-0, but he's got a .943 save percentage, 2 shutouts. I didn't expect this from a Vegas team.
Well, their defense has always been the question's never been the defense because the defense was really solid. Right, you got Petro, you got Theodore, Alec Martinez, Nick Hague, who I love, was a youngster, a big kid. So the defense has always been there. They need occasional saves. Right now, Logan Thompson's probably rookie of the year with this performance. But when you watch that goal that Jack Eichel scored to win the game last night in overtime, they're back and they're dangerous.
Taking it to the hoop.
That's old Jack.
Right when he got on the ice, you just knew. I mean, Winnipeg was gassed, and then when he got the puck, it was over. But that was awesome.
So
I agree.
They're doing what they need to do to win. Bruce Cassidy came in. He's a really good coach. I know the guys ran out of love for him in Boston, but they had a 107-point team with Bruce back there. So the power play will be better. And again, this is a health issue. Is Pedersen's going to stay healthy? Is Jack going to stay healthy? And is Mark Stone going to stay healthy? If those guys, if their star players can stay healthy, they'll the way they're playing now, they'll probably contend for the division. People have them probably maybe a 3 or a wild card behind the two Alberta teams. But if they're going to get goaltending like this, which they really haven't gotten since the first season with Flower, they'll be a dangerous team.
West also, I guess a surprise for me is the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks. Jonathan Toews, someone lit a fire under his ass, back to playing hockey, 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points in the early goal, but they've spread it around. This kid Lafferty, 3 goals, 4 assists. Jason Dixon, 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists. Tyler Johnson, they're getting it from everywhere. They look like a pretty good hockey team.
Yeah, they get 31 goals in 9 games. That's over 3 a game. That's there's 4 more ones than I thought they got. I thought they were tanking, but when you have players like Kane and Toews on the team and they are playing, they have certainly a very high level of pride. They don't want to go in there and lose games, and they've gotten opportunities to scoring from guys that you've never heard of. So it's a nice little start. They've been good at home, 3-1-1 at home. It's a total shock to me when I looked at that lineup. I'm going, okay. When's Patrick King going to want to leave after losing every game? But they haven't lost games yet, so maybe 6 around longer. But again, this team isn't going to contend. It's a nice start. The Blackhawk fans should relish every win that they get because I think they'll be few and far between. But look, again, this is a situation not unlike what Suzuki said. I'm sure Luke Richardson told his team, look, nobody gives us a chance to win any night. So it's us against them. So let's go out and prove a lot of people wrong. And so far, they've proved a lot of people wrong, even in this early start, to have that record. I don't think anybody expected it. You're right. It is a surprise.
What about Alex Stalock? He's been pretty solid.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah. What's this? His 20th team? Then? No, I'm just kidding.
He's a Duluth Bulldog. He's a Bulldog. I got to support him.
You got to support him. Look, you need some veteran presence on a team that's trying to rebuild, and he's one of these guys that's going to come in. He's not going to set the world on fire, but if you give him enough support, enough goal scoring, like Knucks mentioned, that's really unexpected. You ask him to make the average save, he'll keep you in the game. That's Alex Stalock, and Alex had a tough go with COVID and the inflammation around the heart. The fact that he's even playing right now is a great story, and he's helping his team win right now.
How about your favorite coach? Battle of Alberta, Calgary, Edmonton. Edmonton takes it 3-2. When asked where Mr. Jonathan Huberdeau went, he said, I don't know, he went to take a shit. I mean, come on. That not funny? You love that guy. You love him, don't you?
I love him. Actually, I love him when the microphones go down, because when you turn off the microphone, he's a really good guy. And he's a family man, as we know, his relationship with Chris is.
Yeah.
And when you turn on that microphone, he's just a prick. It's as simple as that. So I think I think the joke is worn out. I was the guy who in 2014 asked him if they lost game 6 at home, what do you say to your team? And he said, fly at 11. So that was from me. So I've been around him for 5 years. It's just that it looks funny to everybody, except it's kind of disrespectful to the media. And that's the one thing. And if you're an American media like me, I don't know anything according to Darryl because I'm from America. I'm not from Canada. So, just snippets and stuff. And look, and the team has responded. So as much as I don't like his tactics, this team has responded. They're a really talented team. But you see what happens when Connor McDavid takes over a game again on Saturday night, and he found a way to get there. And Zach, look, that's going to be another great playoff series. I think those two are destined to meet in the division final. But those games, and the fact is, I think they only play one more time, which is kind of a crime with respect to the schedule that's going on. But look, Connor, when he wants to get going, he's not stop. He's really unstoppable.
He's not. It's not fair. It's not fair with Connor.
No, it's not fair.
That game he did in Chicago was unbelievable. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 2 hat tricks, right? Early season here already, and That kid, the speed.
He's bouncing the puck on a stick for like 10 feet. I mean, like, come on, who does that stuff?
And how about you talk about bouncing the puck? Did you see Caulfield the other night in the warm-up? He just stands there and goes like this.
Yeah.
Okay. It's unbelievable. I'm lucky if I could tap the puck once. Never mind skate around with it, like carry it like that. It's crazy. These kids.
That's why scoring keeps going up, because the skills are just higher and higher, and it's the things they do with the puck is just amazing. We have one here in Southern California, Trevor Zegras, same thing. He won the game last night against the Leafs. Kids have mad skills that they practice on, and maybe from video games, and then they get on the ice and you start doing this stuff, and they have no fear. That's the other thing. They have no fear about making mistakes. So
they're allowed to do it. You know, back in the day, Knucks, you couldn't do that. Knucks would threaten you if you tried to do that.
Oh, I get fucking hung for passing the puck in the middle in your own end of the rink, right? You're fucking done. Right. See you later. Exactly. That's sending you to the American Hockey League. So, Dennis, what do you got for this week in the NHL? What do you think? What are you looking at, my friend?
Well, I'm looking at, the teams are going back to Europe. So, and maybe Colorado should do what Nashville did and get healthy in Europe, because you watch Colorado play right now. I don't get it. They're champs. They're playing under the gun. They're not playing very well, guys. They're 4-4-1. And so, to me, that's one of the teams that, you got to not look out for, but they have to start playing better. And they came to New York, the New York metro area, didn't really play well. Dallas, is still on top of the West in the Central, so I really like that. But again, I keep going back to the Leafs, guys. I mean, look at what the schedule's coming up for them, right? I mean, who they got at home?
The Maple Leafs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to see.
They got Philly at home on Wednesday, and then I think they got Boston. And Philly's not an easy out. And Boston, so if they lose their next two and they're 4-6-2, you don't want to press the panic button. But again, these are really important games, not for the team, but for the coach. Because after that road trip, I never worry about like you play a bad game, you good. It's the response. And that was the problem with this road trip, is that they went up to San Jose against a bad team, lost in overtime. So you think the response, and granted, it was this afternoon, you thought the response would be okay. Then they didn't play great against the Kings. They lost 4-2, but they were okay. But you think, okay, we got to get out of get out of California with a win. The Ducks are awful. You're playing a 5:00 game, and they weren't losing that game. So this team hasn't responded to any of the losses. Now, if they go home and lose to Philly at home, then I know everybody's saying Page and Barry Trotz. Maybe that's structure, but I think if they sign that player that coach long term, my question is, do you think that Austin Matthews would really like playing in the Barry Trotz system?
No. And I don't think that
he may not like playing there anyway long term, but that's one of the issues.
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially the way that team is built, right? To get them to play that style, it's just not going to happen. I don't believe so. I don't think Trotz is the answer there. Is Sheldon Keefe his? I believe they're going to play 2 games here, Philly, Boston. They don't get it done there. I think we're going to see him move. But thing is, that they make a move and bring somebody in that they're not going to really have for the future. You know what I mean? Like Trotz would be that type of guy, a tenured coach, a guy who's won, but they don't have that type of team that can play that system. And it would be like shooting yourself in the foot. I think it might work for a little bit at the beginning.
Well, but you want to shock the players though, right? I mean, if you can't fire the players, so you bring in this coach. That's right. I mean, he's going to play a structured system, and they don't have the players to do that. Right? And it's not even the players to do it, the mindset. Like this team doesn't really care about playing defense. Like they want to go the other way, and it winds up burning them. Like to me, if I was Dubas, I would be making calls, because 3-1 against the Ducks in the third period, you have to win. I mean, you got to win that.
You got to lock it down.
It's just something going on there that I don't think the players like playing Keefe's system. I think this Keefe system, what's they done? They fashioned a great regular season last season, but they weren't crap in the playoffs. And I don't know. There's just too many things that don't look right when I watched that team play, and I watched them live. I just didn't see the passion in it. So maybe it's this week, but you got to start winning games. It's as simple as that. Like that cures everything. Like if they went on a 4-game winning streak, we wouldn't be talking about Sheldon Keefe anymore. And but it's how they're losing games, right? And it's the try that concerns me. And that's usually when they start tuning the coach out. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think with him, and I just think that the times he's challenged the players in the media, that just doesn't work. They say it doesn't fucking bother them. Like Monagan on, oh yeah, not a big deal. It bothers them. The egos of them guys, and they get out there on the ice. Then, and like you said, they don't have that. They don't play with that edge. They don't have that I really give a shit attitude, and it's hurting. The thing, I think Dubas is going to have a tough time because it's his buddy, right? He hired him. He brought him through. He had him in junior. They were together. And I think –
Well, the one thing, though, if they don't do it this season, he's gone.
Yeah.
So he might be in pressure. If this starts, continuing to go south, he's not going to have any choice. If he wants to stay employed as a general manager, he's going to have to bring in a new coach and get an attitude change from the team.
I say they bring in me and Tim.
Babcock. Yeah, and then Babcock.
Fuck Babcock. Me and you, Tim.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can lay the hammer down.
Exactly.
You can work on the power play.
I'll run the door.
No. You're fucking working the power play, Tim.
All right. Yeah, I could do that.
And Knucks will say our elite players aren't playing well, and then they'll go in the room and beat their asses.
You'll get on the iPads. You'll get on the iPads. And,
I'll be smashing fucking iPads over people's fucking heads. Let's go here.
Get in the game. Let's go.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to the week. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm really watching that Leaf thing, and man, I'm happy for the Habs. I really am. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at, these young guys. I like Suzuki. I really like Caulfield. Always smile on his face. He's so different right now than he was when Duchamp was here. It looks like they're having fun. This looks like a
credit to St. Louis that, I guess sometimes you don't need the experience. You just need to draw on the experience you had as a player. And it resonates with this team. It resonates with the young guys. And not only that, he's a little guy too. He's not some big hulking. That's the other thing. He's an underdog, right? He was undrafted. He made it to the Hockey Hall of Fame. So I think guys like Suzuki and Caulfield, it resonates without question. It resonates because look at their production. But this is the right guy at the right time. Do I think he's a championship coach? I have no idea. But for this team to help develop this young talent, give them confidence, he's certainly been the right guy. And I didn't think so. I'm like, what are they doing? You need some experience. And he's proven all the doubters wrong, and good for Morty. But you know what? Knowing what he's done and the path in his professional career, is it really that much of a shock that he's proven people wrong? Because he's done it all his life.
Mm-mm. And then Gorton and Hughes, come on. Gorton, I remember talking to him before going out to the draft, and he just said to me, Knuckles, we got to get bigger. This team has to get bigger. Yeah. And they have, Doc, Slavkovsky, Monahan. And they even put Big Joel in the lineup. Yoel, Amia. But
and your boy Wi-Fi too. He's
Wi-Fi huge.
You need some size, not only just for the size factor, but especially on defense for the reach factor. We got a small defense in LA, and part of the challenge is they don't have these guys that with 6'3", 6'4", they can lay their stick out in the slot and block passes and stuff. So size still matters. Look, you got to skate because there's guys who were big that played 10 years ago that can't play now. There's no way. There's no chance. But you need some dimension of size more defensively, I think, than anything else. The toughness, sure, we could always use another tough guy on the team. But I think the size factor comes in with respect to the defensive play that you take up time and space from the other players.
Good stuff. Listen, Dennis, thanks again for joining Knuckles and Tim here. Appreciate it. And we'll do this again next week, my friend.
Always great being over on Knuckles podcast, guys. We'll talk to you next week.